What if NASA's most advanced quantum computer discovered something so terrifying about our future that they had to shut it down immediately? In late 2023, reports emerged that NASA's Quantum Artificial Intelligence Laboratory suddenly halted operations after their system produced results that defied known physics. The silence that followed has been deafening, and what they found might change everything we thought we knew about tomorrow. Let's uncover the truth behind the most mysterious shutdown in computing history. The story begins with what should have been routine quantum computing research. NASA's Quantum Artificial Intelligence Laboratory had been working steadily on complex calculations for space missions and scientific breakthroughs. Their quantum computer was performing exactly as expected until it wasn't. Between November 2023 and July 2024, multiple independent reports surfaced about NASA's quantum computing project experiencing something unprecedented. The first story broke from tech journalists who had sources inside the NASA-Google partnership. These sources described something they had never seen before. The quantum system generated outputs that seemed to violate fundamental laws of physics. What made this even stranger was NASA's response. Instead of publishing papers explaining the anomaly or discussing the technical challenges they faced, they went completely silent. For a cutting-edge facility that regularly released groundbreaking research, this silence was deafening. NASA's Quantum Laboratory hasn't published a single research paper since April 2023. The reports weren't coming from conspiracy theorists or unreliable sources. Multiple tech publications, including established industry outlets, began documenting the same pattern. Their sources suggested the pause was because it succeeded too well. The quantum computer had allegedly generated results so unexpected, so outside normal parameters, that it required immediate assessment by teams of specialists. Here's a detail that should concern everyone. 3 senior researchers reportedly requested transfers out of the program within weeks of the alleged incident. These were experienced quantum physicists who had worked on the project for years. No explanations were given for their departures, no exit interviews were conducted, and each departure was accompanied by signed non-disclosure agreements. But the government's response tells an even stranger story. When governments suddenly increase funding for technology, it usually means one of two things. Either the technology is working incredibly well, or it's revealed something that requires immediate attention. In NASA's case, both might be true. The National Quantum Initiative suddenly received massive funding increases in 2024. The Pentagon created new quantum research divisions practically overnight. Classified briefings on quantum computing jumped by 300% compared to previous years. When was the last time you saw the government rush to regulate and fund a technology that wasn't producing significant results? Consider the timeline. NASA's last public quantum research was published in April 2023. The first reports of unexpected results emerged in November 2023. By early 2024, government oversight of quantum research had increased dramatically. Then, in December 2024, Google unveiled their revolutionary Willow processor, the same type of quantum technology NASA had been using in their partnership. While Google announced their quantum breakthrough to the world, NASA went dark just as the technology reached its peak potential. This is a response of an organization that discovered something so significant that public disclosure was deemed impossible. Industry insiders began noticing other strange developments. Job postings from NASA in late 2023 showed a sudden spike in requests for specialists in what they call quantum anomaly assessment and non-standard output analysis. These were roles created specifically to study results that didn't fit normal expectations. Major corporations quietly began what they call quantum contingency planning. Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta all established teams to study quantum-predicted scenarios. Wall Street firms started modeling what they termed quantum-identified systemic risks. They were preparing for something, but the public was never told what that something might be. The evidence suggests NASA's quantum computer discovered something that changed everything. To understand what NASA's system might have found, you need to grasp what these machines actually do. Quantum computers not only calculate faster than traditional computers, but they even operate in a fundamentally different reality. Through quantum superposition, these machines can analyze millions of possibilities simultaneously. While your laptop processes information in a linear sequence, quantum computers explore every possible solution at the same time. Google's quantum team has already demonstrated that their systems can model molecular interactions that are impossible for classical computers to handle. But here's where it gets interesting. These same systems can model any complex system that follows mathematical rules. That includes weather patterns, economic systems, social dynamics, and even human civilization itself. Imagine a computer that can simulate every possible future based on current data, climate patterns, economic indicators, technological development, population changes, all calculated with unprecedented accuracy. MIT researchers have already used quantum systems to predict market crashes with 89% accuracy. Stanford's quantum laboratory modeled pandemic spread patterns 2 years before COVID-19 became a global crisis. These are proven applications that are already being used in research facilities around the world. Now imagine pointing that same predictive power at humanity's future. Quantum computers excel at detecting patterns that are invisible to human observers. They can identify cascade effects where tiny changes lead to massive consequences. They can model how different systems influence each other in ways our brains simply cannot process. What makes this truly frightening is that quantum computers don't just predict single events. They map entire chains of cause and effect. They can show how climate tipping points might trigger economic collapses, how resource scarcity could lead to international conflicts, or how technological advancement might create dependencies we haven't considered. Multiple environmental scientists have independently identified the 2000s and 70s as what they call a critical convergence point. Arctic ice depletion accelerates beyond recovery. Fresh water becomes critically scarce in major population centers. Agricultural zones shift dramatically due to changing weather patterns, and mass migration reaches unprecedented levels. But scientists looking at individual problems typically study these issues separately. A quantum computer doesn't have that limitation. It can model all these factors simultaneously and show how they influence each other in real time. What if NASA's quantum computer didn't find something supernatural or impossible? What if it found something terrifyingly natural and inevitable? This would explain the immediate shutdown, the researcher transfers, and the government intervention. How do you announce that your computer has mathematically proven that civilization has less than 50 years? You don't announce it. You go silent. You assess the data, and you hope desperately that you're wrong. Some sources claim the quantum system have begun generating what they called impossible solutions. Not wrong solutions, not errors, but solutions that work perfectly but shouldn't exist according to our understanding of physics. One anonymous source described finding a perfect solution to an equation that shouldn't have a solution. While these claims sound like science fiction, the human response suggests something very real happened. The technology industry has a way of celebrating breakthroughs while ignoring warning signs. We celebrate artificial intelligence without discussing job displacement. We praise social media for connecting people while ignoring how it fractures society. The quantum computing revolution is following the same pattern. Elon Musk, who understands advanced technology better than most people, has become increasingly urgent in his warnings about AI and quantum computing. In multiple interviews, he has stated that the danger of artificial intelligence is much greater than the danger of nuclear weapons. In a 2023 tech conference, Musk specifically mentioned the combination of quantum computing and AI as what he called an existential risk multiplier. His exact words were chilling that when AI gains quantum capabilities, we're not just facing a fast intelligence. We're facing something that can see possibilities we can't even imagine. Sources from private tech summits report that Musk became visibly agitated when discussing quantum AI fusion. He allegedly told attendees that we're building a crystal ball that might show us futures we can't prevent. Remember, this is coming from the man who helped create PayPal, Tesla, and SpaceX. When someone with access to the most advanced AI systems on the planet expresses genuine fear about a technology, maybe we should listen. It's no coincidence that immediately after the NASA quantum incidents were reported, Musk intensified his calls for AI regulation. His social media posts shifted from general warnings to urgent demands for government oversight. He met with senators, testified before Congress, and repeatedly emphasized that we need to slow down technological development, not speed it up. NASA's Quantum Artificial Intelligence Laboratory was established in 2013 at the Ames Research Center in California. On paper, it's a joint venture between NASA, Google, and the University Space Research Association. The stated goals sound almost routine: optimize spacecraft trajectories, simulate space weather, enhance mission planning. But they don't advertise to model space missions accurately. These systems need to simulate incredibly complex variables that follow the same quantum mechanical rules that govern everything in our universe, including life on Earth. Dr. Eleanor Reese, a senior researcher at the facility, once noted that quantum computers designed to model astrophysics can model any complex system. The same algorithms that predict asteroid trajectories can predict economic crashes. The same code that simulates star formation can simulate civilization collapse. History is full of accidental discoveries that change everything. Penicillin was found while studying bacteria. Cosmic microwave background radiation was discovered while trying to eliminate antenna noise. X-rays were found during experiments with cathode ray tubes. What if NASA's quantum computer, while modeling space phenomena, accidentally modeled something much closer to home? In early 2023, the facility published papers on multidimensional optimization in chaotic systems. By April, they were exploring quantum prediction algorithms for nonlinear dynamics. These are exactly the types of calculations you would use to model complex systems like human civilization. Then, suddenly, the research trail goes cold. The timing is too precise to be coincidental. The facility was actively researching the exact capabilities that could predict societal changes, and then they went silent just as reports of impossible results began emerging. Either they encountered a technical problem so severe that they couldn't continue, or they discovered something so significant that they couldn't share it. Given the government's response, the latter seems far more likely. Modern quantum systems can simultaneously track thousands of variables that affect human civilization. They can process climate data, economic indicators, resource depletion rates, technological advancement curves, population dynamics, and political instability patterns all at the same time. More importantly, they can see how these factors influence each other in ways that human researchers working on individual problems simply cannot process. DeepMind's AlphaFold revolutionized biology by predicting protein structures that had puzzled scientists for decades. D-Wave systems optimize supply chains by modeling millions of potential pathways simultaneously. IBM's quantum division is simulating chemical reactions that could revolutionize medicine. The same technology that can predict how proteins will fold can predict how societies will change. The same algorithms that optimize supply chains can identify the supply chain failures that might trigger economic collapse. The same processing power that simulates chemical reactions can simulate the social reactions that lead to political instability. Multiple independent research teams have used classical computers to identify troubling patterns in global systems. Climate scientists predict that several environmental tipping points will converge in the 2070s. Economists warn that debt levels and inequality are approaching historical breaking points. Resource specialists calculate that fresh water scarcity will affect billions of people within decades. But these researchers are looking at individual problems using limited computational power. A quantum computer can model all these factors simultaneously with exponentially greater accuracy. It can identify feedback loops, cascade effects, and convergence points that individual researchers would never detect. Fast forward to today, and the evidence of something significant becomes overwhelming. Google's Willow processor has shattered every quantum computing record, performing calculations that would take classical supercomputers longer than the universe has existed. IBM is closing in on their 100,000 qubit target. China claimed quantum supremacy in communications. Yet NASA's quantum laboratory remains curiously quiet. Their last public paper was published in April 2023. Their last conference presentation was canceled without explanation. Their research staff has been significantly restructured. Google continues advancing the technology and announcing breakthroughs, but NASA maintained complete radio silence. The funding tells a different story than the official silence. The National Quantum Initiative budget increased by 400% in 2024. The Pentagon established 3 new quantum research divisions. Congress held multiple classified hearings on quantum security implications. The NSA created an entire department for quantum threat assessment. Tech insiders report that major corporations have quietly begun what they call quantum contingency planning. Wall Street firms are modeling quantum-identified systemic risks. They are preparing for something specific, something significant enough to warrant massive private investment in preparedness. If nothing important happened at NASA's quantum laboratory, why is everyone acting like something earth-shaking occurred? The pattern of silence, investment, and preparation suggests that whatever NASA's quantum computer discovered, it was significant enough to change how governments and corporations approach the future. And that future might be arriving faster than anyone wants to admit. The most telling evidence is in human behavior. When seasoned scientists who work with cutting-edge technology every day suddenly request transfers without explanation, that means something extraordinary happened. These weren't junior researchers or temporary contractors. These were experienced quantum physicists who had dedicated years to the project. They understood the technology, they expected unusual results, and they were prepared for technical challenges. But whatever they encountered was significant enough to make them leave their life's work behind. One source described researchers as visibly shaken after certain quantum calculations. Another claimed that team meetings became increasingly tense as the system produced results that nobody could explain. These are the responses of people who discovered something that challenged their fundamental understanding of reality. The non-disclosure agreements signed by departing researchers weren't standard employment contracts. According to several sources, these were comprehensive legal documents that covered not just the specific research, but any discussion of anomalous results or unusual system behavior. That level of legal protection isn't used for routine technical problems. Some researchers reportedly described the quantum system's outputs as speaking a language that violated causality. Others claimed the data patterns were internally consistent but impossible to explain using current physics. One anonymous source compared it to finding a perfect solution to an equation that shouldn't have a solution. Whether these accounts are accurate or exaggerated, the human response is real and documented. Experienced professionals don't abandon cutting-edge research projects without serious reasons. They don't request immediate transfer from prestigious positions unless they've encountered something that fundamentally disturbs them. The pattern suggests that NASA's quantum computer revealed truths that humans weren't prepared to face. Let's consider the most grounded explanation for what happened at NASA. What if this quantum computer simply did what it was designed to do, and what if that future showed something we desperately don't want to see? Quantum computers excel at modeling complex systems with countless variables. They can simultaneously track climate change, economic indicators, resource depletion, technological advancement, population growth, and political stability. Most importantly, they can show how all these factors influence each other in ways that human researchers studying individual problems cannot see. Current research already identifies several concerning trends. Environmental scientists warn that multiple climate tipping points could converge in the coming decades. Economists point to debt levels and inequality that are approaching historical breaking points. Resource specialists calculate that fresh water scarcity will affect billions of people within our lifetimes. But what if it found mathematical proof that our current trajectory leads to societal collapse not in the distant future, but within the next 20 to 30 years? Such a discovery would explain about the immediate shutdown, the researcher departures, the government intervention, and the massive increase in classified research funding. The story of NASA's quantum computer is just beginning. As quantum computing technology continues advancing at an exponential rate, more systems will develop similar predictive capabilities. Other research facilities will run similar calculations. Other quantum computers will model humanity's future with increasing accuracy. The silence can't hold forever. Whether through whistleblowers, independent research, or technological advancement in other countries, the information that NASA's quantum computer discovered will eventually emerge. The question isn't whether this technology revealed something profound. The evidence strongly suggests it did. The question is whether we're better off knowing. Some knowledge empowers us to change course and avoid predicted problems. Other knowledge might paralyze us with the certainty of inevitable outcomes. NASA's continued silence suggests they are still trying to determine which category this discovery falls into. NASA's specific discovery involved civilizational collapse, technological singularity, or something else entirely. The fundamental capability to see our future with mathematical precision is no longer science fiction. The governments of the world are investing billions in quantum research while simultaneously increasing security and classification around quantum discoveries. Major corporations are developing contingency plans based on quantum-predicted scenarios. The technology industry is preparing for changes that the public hasn't been told about. Whether we have 50 years or 500, whether the predicted changes are preventable or inevitable, knowledge remains our most powerful tool. The ability to see potential futures gives us the opportunity to work toward better outcomes or prepare for unavoidable challenges. So what do you think NASA's quantum computer really discovered? Was it mathematical proof of civilization's collapse, a glimpse into parallel realities, or something even more extraordinary? The evidence points to a discovery so significant that it changed how governments approach our future, but the truth remains hidden behind classified walls. Whatever NASA found, it was important enough to silence one of the most transparent research programs in human history. Share your thoughts about what could make the world's most advanced quantum computer too dangerous to operate. Your theory might be closer to the truth than you think.